morning, grade 5th. How are you all? I hope you all are doing good at your home. Class, we will continue our block 15, that is physical changes. Okay? And our second topic is change in state, heating. Now moving forward towards warm up questions. Our question number 1 is, what is a physical change? Do you know what is a physical change? A physical change is a change in which no new substance is formed. Okay? And only the physical properties are changed, like shape, color and state of matter is changed. Right? Do you know some examples? Some examples are stretching of rubber band, blowing air into a balloon, sharpening a pencil. These all are the examples of physical change. Okay? Now, come towards our today's topic. Our aim is to explain why heating of materials causes them to change their state of matter. Okay? Our keywords are melting, boiling and evaporation. Now, moving towards our activity. In this picture, you can see that there are two materials. First picture shows that ice is melting, right? And in second picture, you can see that water is boiling and changing into a water vapor, right? When ice is heated, it changes into water, and when water is heated, it changes into water vapor. Clear? Now, this is your question of the day. Okay, your question of the day is a natural process in which the liquid changes into vapor even without heating is known as what? Okay, you have to give the answer of this question in your school, yeah. Clear? But firstly, watch the complete video. After that, you are able to answer this question, right? Now, moving towards our activity discussion. Your question number 1 is, why does ice changes into water on heating? In the activity part, you had seen that ice is melting, right? You have to explain that why does ice changes into water while we heat it. Okay? In this picture you can see when we heat the ice, when we are heating the ice, you can see that ice is changing into water, right? Do you know what is the reason why ice is changing into water? Your answer will be, all things are made up of small particles, right? Ice is also made up of particles. These particles are closely packed. As you know that in solids, particles are closely packed, right? Ice is also a solid, right? When ice is heated, the particles in ice gain energy, right? When we heat the ice, the particles of ice gain energy and they start moving apart, right? This causes ice to change into water. Clear? Have you understood the answer? Like in this picture, you can see that first picture is of solid, right? In this picture, you can see particles are closely packed, right? And when we heat the solid solid substance like ice, it converts into water, and water is a liquid, and particles in liquid are a little farther apart, right? As in solids, the particles are tightly packed, okay? There is not much space between them, as you can see in your first picture, in the left side picture, right? But in case of liquid, particles in liquids are a little farther apart as we compare from solids, right? As we compare the particles of liquid from solid, liquid particles have greater freedom to move around, right? This you can see in your second picture, right? That's why when we heat the ice, the particles of ice gain energy and they start moving apart. That's why the ice that is in solid state changes into liquid state on heating. Okay? Clear? Now moving towards our second question. Do you know what is this process called? Our last question is, why does ice melt on heating? Right? This is clear that ice melts on heating. I am asking, what is this process called? What is the name of this process? This process is melting. Right? Ice melts on heating. Clear? Our next question is, why does water change into vapor on heating? As earlier we seen that on heating, ice changes into water, right? This time I am asking, why water changes into vapor on heating? Okay? Think about it firstly. What will be your answer? In this picture you can see that when we heat water, the water is converting into water vapor, right? Do you know the reason behind this? Your answer will be, when we heat water, the particles of water gain energy, right? And by heating, they start moving further apart, right? As you can see in this picture, first picture is of particles in a liquid, right? When we heat the liquid, the particles have freedom to move apart and they go in the state of vapor, like you can see in second picture. In second picture, particles are far apart and have no regular arrangement. This is, what type of material is this? This is a vapor, right? In first picture you can see particles in liquid, and in second picture you can see particles in gases or in vapor, right? When we heat water, water convert into water vapor. Clear? This causes water to change into water vapor. Understood? Now, moving towards next question. My question is, what is this process called? I am asking, when we heat water, water changes into water vapor, right? What is this process called? Your answer will be, this process is known as boiling. Clear? I am repeating, when we heat ice, ice converts into water. This process is known as melting. Clear? And when we heat water, water converts into water vapor. And this process is known as boiling. Clear? Now, moving towards our generalized question. Our question number 1 is, what is melting? Do you know the answer? Your answer will be, melting is a change in which solid changes to liquid due to heat. Right? I am repeating. Melting is a process in which a solid changes to a liquid because of heating. Clear? And what is boiling? Your answer will be, a change in which liquid changes to a gas or vapors due to heat is called boiling. I am repeating. A change in which liquid changes to a gas or vapors because of heating is known as boiling. Clear? Tell me, what are some examples of melting? Do you know some examples of melting? Some common solids that melt are butter, ice cream, ghee, wax, right? We can also see iron, right? You can see the example in your content book also. Iron is a solid, and when we heat the iron, it changes into a liquid form, right? This is what? This is melting. This is example of melting. Okay? Now, do you know some examples of heating? Sorry, some examples of boiling. We can take example like cooking oil also changes into vapors on heating, right? We can see example of milk, right? We boil the milk daily in our homes, right? These all are the examples of boiling. Clear? In this picture you can see that in the left side you can see a solid is shown, right? When we apply heat on that, when we heat the solid, the particles of solid absorb that heat and start moving apart, right? Like you can see in the second picture, in the liquid, the particles of solid are moving apart, right? And they form a liquid. Clear? And when the particles of liquid also absorb heat, like when we heat the liquid, their particles absorb heat and move further apart and form a gas or vapor. Clear? You can see this in your picture, right? This is also in your content book. Okay? Now, as we already know that when we heat solids, it converts into liquid, right? And when we heat liquid, it converts into vapor. Clear? But my question is, does camphor changes into liquid when heated? Do you know what is a camphor? Camphor in Hindi known as kapoor. Okay? In Hindi, camphor is known as kapoor. I am asking, does camphor changes into liquid when heated? No, camphor do not melt while we heat, okay? But it change directly into vapors. Clear? Like in first picture you can see that a camphor is there and it is converting directly into vapors, right? Like that you can see in the second picture also a dry ice is shown, right? Dry ice also change from solid to vapor when we heat it, okay? It doesn't come to liquid state. Clear? So your answer will be no. Camphor do not change from solid to liquid. It change directly into vapors on heating. Clear? Do you know when any substance when any solid on heating changes into directly into gaseous state and doesn't come to liquid state? What is that process called? That change is called sublimation. Clear? When any solid changes from solid state to gaseous state without coming to liquid state, then it is known as sublimation, right? Our next question is same. Our next question is, what is sublimation? Your answer will be conversion of a substance from solid state to gaseous state without changing into liquid state is known as sublimation. Okay? You can also see this in this picture. This picture shows dry ice, and dry ice is changing into gaseous state without changing into liquid state. Clear? You can also take some other examples like naphthalene balls, like Odonil that you use in your bathrooms, right? The first picture is of naphthalene balls, and second picture is of Odonil. In these both pictures, in these both substance, you know that they change from solid state to gaseous state without changing into liquid state, right? So this process is known as sublimation. Clear? Now, moving towards our higher order thinking questions. Your question is, how is evaporation different from boiling? Pause the video and think about it firstly. How is evaporation different from boiling? Okay. In this picture you can see that when sun heats the water surface, the water is evaporating, right? And in this picture you can see that when we heat any liquid, the liquid is changing into vapors, right? So what is the difference between evaporation and boiling? As we know that evaporation is a slow process, okay? But boiling is a fast process. We can take the examples like this. In this picture you can see that sun rays are heating the water body and the water is evaporated, but it takes time, right? And in this second picture you can see that when heat is applied, when we heat any liquid, it is changing into water vapor, right? But evaporation is a slow process, while boiling is a fast process. And our second difference is evaporation takes place at all temperatures. Like this is winter season, but this time also evaporation takes place, right? As although the temperature is low, right? But in case of boiling, boiling takes place at a fixed temperature on heating. When we heat any liquid, it changes into water vapor, but the temperature is fixed for boiling any substance, for boiling any liquid. Clear? Have you understood a difference between evaporation and boiling? Clear? Do you have any confusion? Have you understood the change in state while we heat any object? Melting, boiling, evaporation, sublimation, everything clear? If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay? Now, moving towards our homework question. In homework, you have to complete S2 in your workbook. Okay? And you have to complete PQ 3 and 4 in your first notebook. Clear? Class, I am repeating again. If your first book is filled, then only you can do your homework in second notebook. Okay? But if your first notebook is still left, then you have to complete your homework in first notebook. Clear? If you have any doubt regarding this topic, you can ask me. Okay? Thank you, class. Bye bye. Have a nice day. Take care.